James Melendez, James the Wine Guy. Stay tuned for a review of this beautiful San Francisco gin. I think it's really important to think about the beverage arts in terms of San Francisco. And I've actually visited the site, and it's also housed in Anchor Steam Brewing. So it's a really cool place in Potrero Hill. If you get a chance, you're in San Francisco, you're here during the middle of the week, Monday through Friday, they don't do tours on the weekend. Fantastic place to visit. I had an individual tour, which I was very privileged to have, and excited about that because ultimately I got to go to the hops room. It smelled amazing. There was a winery on site as well. So it had a combination of being a brewery, a winery, and a distillery. All of these three things under one house. Not so sure with the change of ownership. So Fritz Maytag used to own Anchor Steam Brewing and Anchor Spirits, and no longer does. But you know, the name is still there, the quality's still there, and the evocation of what gin is. I'm not sure why gin really took a decline over a period of time. And gin was a rage in England century before last, and it's still very popular, of course. Now, and I've also talked about countries like Spain. So Spain is, at this point, the #1 consumer of gin, which is pretty amazing. So here we go, proper introduction to this beautiful gin, and we're going to talk about more of the characteristics of this. And so here we go. So this is called Junipero, and I'll bring that closer so you can see all the light so it's not too bright, and see details of the label here. So Junipero, a Spanish word for juniper. So it's funny because Junipero gin, and gin would be an English word, I guess, meaning juniper, coming from the Dutch word Genevier. So you have all these different words coming through and basically meaning the same thing, which is pretty interesting. So here's a back panel full of story and copy here. Doesn't give any details on the botanics, but they're pretty much the standard botanics. So you're going to have coriander, you're going to have, of course, juniper, otherwise it wouldn't be gin. It's a 49.3% ABV. Beautiful, simple label here, and I think a lot of people have taken to gin as being a mixer and to enjoy as a martini, which is very wonderful, of course, but I like to enjoy it on its own. And it wasn't up until a restaurant I visited in Chicago called Vincent. So it's a Dutch inspired restaurant, and of course gin is served straight up as a sipping beverage, as Scotch would or tequila, and it actually paired really well with the food that I was tasting with a group of friends. For me, I think it's a really remarkable thing to taste so many gins. It could not be said that all gins are the same. They're clearly not. There's so many different inspirations and iterations. Ultimately, what I try to do is I do a controlled testing. And controlled tasting is I'm smelling the control, which is a London Dry. So this is a really, really spirited, juniper forward, juniper jump in your face, if you will, gin. And this is very different. Of course, juniper is very present, but it's not the only key characteristic here. So here we go. Scent characteristics first, then flavor notes, and then a point score. So on this, of course, getting that beautiful juniper note, but it's not too intense. Coming through beautifully, coriander, Meyer lemon, getting lavender and white floral components as well. So here we go. Take a taste and give the flavor notes. Beautiful notes of Meyer lemon, mandarin orange, anise, lavender, cardamom, and mint. I give this gin 9.4 out of a 10.0 scale. You can think of that as 94 points out of 100 points. If you like this review, please give a like right here. Subscribe to my videos on my YouTube channel right here. I'll put more information down for Anchor Distilling and Anchor Brewing as well. So definitely recommend to visit. It's quite fantastic. A beautiful gin to enjoy on its own, but it's also nice to mix with. And so one thing I would never say, or try not to say, about most spirits is that it is smooth, because that is a blind descriptor that doesn't really go that far. Hopefully, if it is well constructed, it will be easy to consume, right? But ultimately, it's a beautiful, beautiful gin. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more video reviews on most social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Vimeo, Google+, and Pinterest. Thank you so much. Salud.